This episode is sponsored by Glam Studio 304, owned by hairstylist Jessica Taylor. She owns a luxury hair extension brand called Amazing Tresses. She specializes in custom wigs and healthy hair care. Follow her on IG at Just Amazing. Okay, hey guys, welcome back to the Mommy's Anonymous podcast. So the party was so amazing. Our first soft launch party of the season. We were able to have moms come here and just have a little, let our hair down a little bit, have a couple drinks, sponsored by Saint Germain, brought to you by Sierra Jabri and Sips by C. Honestly, guys, it was the most amazing last minute event I could have ever, thought it could be. I didn't know that everybody was going to turn out in a couple days, but when they did come, everybody looked great and they were able to come back in the studio and say a little something so everybody can, see a couple of different perspectives of motherhood and not just myself. But I definitely had a great time and I can't wait for the next event. The title of episode 5 is Even If It Kills Me. So the Webster definition of motherhood of a mother is just a female parent. Like, how crazy is that? Just the one that birthed the babies, and that's just crazy to me. I feel like people do not understand all that we go through for that to be just such a watered down understatement of motherhood. From day one of us finding out we're pregnant, we have to make sacrifices. Like, all of your plans change. All of your goals and aspirations have to be put on hold or done with an extra challenge of having a baby inside of you to care about, to think about, to consider with every decision that you're making. It's like as soon as you take that pregnancy test, it's up. And it's stuck for real unless you make the other decisions. But it's like you are a mother from that moment and get to make a decision what's best for you. And sometimes the best mothering decision is to not be a mother at all at that time. And I think I'm pro-choice. I know it's a whole taboo situation, but I think people should do whatever they want. I don't know why anybody should have anything to do with your decision. I have personally had 2 abortions, so I do understand what that's like. I understand the trauma that you will go through from deciding to not have a baby. It's not a simple decision. So when people think that that's a cop-out, the emotional toll that it takes on mothers before, during, and after for months and months and months, even till now, I am emotional about the fact that I made that decision, that I had to make that decision, or I felt pressured to make that decision from, family members. I definitely have a lot of ill feelings about the way in which I landed to that decision, but I do understand that it is I feel that it is a necessary evil sometimes. But the sex to baby pregnancy pipeline are like super duper, super short. Like people ask, like, did you want to have a girl or a boy? And it's like, I was just trying to have sex. Truly. I wasn't really, that wasn't really the goal. But now we're here and we find out we're pregnant. When Des and I find out we're pregnant, we're married. So instantly this is God ordained. He is pleased. That man is happy. Procreate. We're supposed to be here, be fruitful, and multiply. But when things aren't planned and your finances aren't together, or you just weren't, in the position to want to be sat down. Like, I know I'm in a real ambitious phase of my life. I'm in a really get up at the crack of dawn, don't go to sleep, don't need to eat, don't need to do nothing phase in my life until I get pregnant. Now I have to eat vegetables 3 times a day, and now I have to stop drinking as much coffee and stop, I can't take Adderall when I'm pregnant because then the baby's going to be all hyped up. Like, all the things that help me be productive and help me run my business the way that it needs to be run are because I am a able-bodied 20-something-year-old person. And then when you're pregnant, it's just like, oh, but you need to have a seat and take a break and take a load off and, put your feet up and all that. And it's like, I don't want to do that. I don't even want to go through the process of having to be slowed down because I feel like I'm like on go, like in go mode. And the only thing that can stop me and would stop me would be another unexpected pregnancy and another unexpected but beautiful and amazing child. It just would be a huge imposition right now on our lives. We're moving forward, and I think it would just keep us back. And the decisions, like all of that goes through your head as soon as you take that pregnancy test. Do you want to even do that? And then you're like, okay, like me, I've had an abortion, so it's like, do you even want to do that? Do you have time to be sad before, during, and after an abortion? Or do you? And then I'm like, do you have sad to be pregnant? Do you have time to be sad through a pregnancy and then have a baby for the rest of your life? Like, which one do you want? Would you put your baby up for adoption? I can't see myself doing that, because if I birthed it, I don't know how I would look at a child. But that's just me. And I'm like, I do feel like it's selfish. It would be selfish of me to make a decision otherwise. But why is that a selfish decision if it's me and my body and my child? I don't know. I don't know how I would have an abortion at this point if I got pregnant. But my plan is just to not get pregnant. Like, I don't have time to have any type of feelings or emotions about another human life. I don't have it in me. I have my 3. They're perfect. They're amazing. But they were definitely inconvenient, and it's okay to say that. Some people plan better. There are ways to plan. I did not. I just really was, God's plan. Me and my husband, we were just doing what we do. And when we find out we're pregnant, we are very happy. And the names pop in your head, and little cute baby faces pop in your head, and the fact that you can, I'm always one idea away from $1 million. That's how I feel. So if that's my mindset, then I can afford to have a child. Like, I don't feel broke for real. I feel broke right now in this moment. I feel like I'm in between blessings. But do I have time to have a baby in between blessings, or should I wait until I'm at the next phase? But when will that be? When is it okay to have a child? Can you really be prepared when birth plans can go wrong, when everything that you can do, when you can have a child that has cognitive delays? Like, how would you even know how to navigate that? Like, the problems that I have with these really completely able-bodied children, they're fine. They are perfectly healthy. Like, I don't even know what I would do if all the other variables were to come about. And those things need to be weighed out when people like legislators try to say that we can't have abortions. Like, you don't understand what all having a child requires and what it's going to do to me. We sacrifice our body, our beauty, our minds. We are not sane like we used to be. We might not ever be like ourselves again, but it's a sacrifice because the self that I'll be, which is a mother, is going to be a better version of myself, I hope, or I pray. And, I have faith that that's why God would bring these children into my life. And they have done nothing more but motivate me. I sometimes feel like I get pregnant when I don't feel self-motivated enough. And I'm motivated by something outside of myself. I know I have to do this for my kids. I know I have to be, be everything, be alive. Like, I'll just say that. Like, it's just, who do you have to live for? And it's a sick thing to feel like, to have a child so you can have something to live for. But that's not why you have a child, but it might be the reason to keep you alive, is, them being here already. So I just think that people need to consider the process of having a baby, the process of considering if you're going to bring life into this world. And it's not just the babies are cute. Oh, I'm pregnant, so I have to have a baby. It's a lot of decisions we can make. We have a lot of different options, because fathers can get you pregnant, or men can get you pregnant, and they can get away scot-free, but that's on you for the rest of your life. That's on you, whether you had an abortion or not. You live with that. I don't know. I don't know if guys sit around and think about their past abortions, but I know women do. I know that, like, it could, when you see a baby on TV, that's going to it does a little something to you still, but the men that are able to get away with no responsibility and, without any regard for that child, it's not fair to just say women can't get, have all of our options and make a choice, because the choice is going to last you a lifetime if you choose to have that child, and their life is going to be reflecting on if your preparedness. Were you ready, and were you up for the challenge after you weren't ready? Only time will tell. Hell. Well, God's plan has landed me 3 deep and baby boys. So, I don't know if my no birth control plan is foolproof. Obviously it's not, but I feel like I'm married, so condoms are just a no for me. And I just feel like I don't want to get pregnant, so I just pray that we don't get pregnant. We just take preventative measures, and it's a decision that is so big once you find out you're pregnant. The 9 months when that baby is growing inside of you, moms, like the baby is in your body. That's why this should not be anybody's decision, but yours, because the father can walk around like, hey, I'm about to have a baby, hey, shake hands, but you're literally growing a baby inside of you while you're gaining twice as much weight, and you're more anxious than normal, you're throwing up, you're swelling, and trying to also run businesses, and you're still working and still going to school, and your life is business as usual. The fathers do have the burden of worrying about the baby and the mother and all finances and all the other things that everybody worries about, but having to worry about things as well as growing a baby inside of you and knowing that every decision you make will make or break the health, of the baby, especially because you're told, everything is so fragile. If this is your first child, you're not sure, how to move. Your whole operation can be changed because you're nervous and not really, not sure if you're able to eat sushi. Like, if you eat sushi, is the baby gonna be really fucked up? And that's it's not necessarily true, but it is a chance, so you just aren't supposed to. But when do you gonna have time to read the parenting books? When do you have time to read the pregnancy books in between all the doctor's appointments? And now suddenly you a regular normal human woman that's super duper busy, you're supposed to be able to include one doctor's appointment every single month out of the blue for everybody thinks that you have time to add that in your schedule. I did not have time for that. It was so irritating to have to plan around doctor's visits. I don't have time to see my friends. I don't have time to go to the breakfast. I don't have time to get my nails done. But it's now this is what I do on my free time, is go to a doctor's appointment. And so it's just frustrating. The definition being just that we are the female parent, it just goes to show, it's more reason why I want to do this podcast. What are moms really going through? What are we really experiencing? Because I don't really feel seen if that's what we get. That's the definition. It's all of these things. All the sacrifices are they're endless, and there's more every single day. The fact that when you take birth control, yes, that stops you from having, the potential to get pregnant, but it also comes with other factors. You can be gaining weight. You can be you blow up. A lot of people say you blow up, you lose your hair, all these different things. Your skin changes, your mood changes. Who wants to deal with that just so that I don't have a baby? That's very, it's just very frustrating that people think that it's just a this or that. Then the birth controls, how do you know how efficient they are? How do you know how, effective they are? Is yours going to be one that causes you some infertility, like some of them do, because they don't research them enough? And, it's literally changing your insides. It's changing your chemistry in your body, stopping something that's natural supposed to happen. So it's only, me being a major conspiracy theorist, as you guys might find out, I just really read into everything, and so I try to protect myself. Now, yes, I smoke weed and do a lot of things into my body that I probably shouldn't, but birth control is not one of the things that I would be willing to do to enter my body. It's not one of those things. I feel God's plan, and I'm married and he is pleased, and every month that I get my period, it is a celebration, okay, because we made it to the next month, another month that I don't have to think about whether or not I'm going to grow a baby or not and terminate a pregnancy and feel all of the emotional trauma from that. So I think that mom guilt is born the day that you find out that you're pregnant, because you have a decision to make. And if you waver for even 1 second against your pregnancy, if you're not overwhelmed with gratefulness and joy and gratification, all of those things that you're supposed to be full of when you find out you're pregnant, if you feel different, you instantly are guilty. You're guilty because there are moms that can't get pregnant. There are moms that have lost children, who have stillborns after being pregnant the entire time. You feel like you are ungrateful. And it is, in a way, I still feel ungrateful for the abortions that I have when I'm watching my friends and peers struggling with fertility, because it feels like I didn't, it was a blessing from God. And so at the same time as You can't plan perfectly. Like, God's plan is a real thing. Like, God's timing is a real thing. But you can plan better and you can make better decisions for God's timing to, work more in the favor of what his plan is. But I feel like I am guilty for having a thought that a child would be an inconvenience. Like, the second I have any doubts that they are nothing but blessings, it feels like the moms or the women that wish they were moms are, just that just feels like it just feels like a really weird feeling, and it's negative. It's like when I'm watching these stories on Instagram, and I have friends, my cousin, she lost a baby, and I decided, like, I was so hurt, but I couldn't imagine what she was feeling. I have no idea. I still don't know. I don't know how you feel a baby-sized hole in your heart besides with a baby. And luckily, she's pregnant again right now with her rainbow baby, her and her husband, and it's been an amazing journey to watch her resilience and even her will to want to get pregnant again. Like, I would be terrified, but her faith in her, like, her relationship is so strong. Like, it really is something amazing to watch, because I don't know what I would do. I don't even want to find out. But there are women who deal with this every day. At the end of their pregnancy, finding out that there is something wrong, or something just goes wrong, not according to your plan or anyone's plan, and you lose a baby. So no, you don't want to hear when people are crying and complaining about their kids throwing a plate over their high chair, because I would love to have a baby throwing a plate over the high chair, and that's ungrateful. So it does feel like a taboo topic, talking about abortion, talking about not wanting to have being pregnant, or even contemplating it. It's taboo for moms that have children to even discuss a pregnancy, an unwanted pregnancy. You not wanting to say that something's unwanted. Now, I won't say unwanted, but I'll say unplanned. I wanted all of my pregnancies. I wanted all of my babies. I needed them all as well. However, could we have planned better? Yes. So I think that people need to just be able to say that, and feel free to say that without feeling the enormous guilt of, is somebody looking over your shoulder and calling you ungrateful, or trying to, you made this decision, you was having sex, so you deserve. And it's like, it's so much more than that. What our minds go through with each of the decisions. Like, it's not okay. So we have sex, women, okay, two people have sex. The woman now has to decide the biggest decisions of her life all in one moment, and the guy can just go off. It's such a. It's just, it doesn't feel fair. The freedom that men can get, like, I will feel like you're stuck. You feel stuck with the baby. You are stuck. The baby's in you for at least 9 months. Well, that's. You can't go anywhere without it. You can't escape the baby, and you don't want to escape the baby, but you just can't. You are trapped, just like the baby's trapped inside of you. It feels like it's such a, I don't know, I felt an out-of-body experience, and I'm not sure if this is postpartum, but I did when the babies came. I loved being pregnant. I loved the experience. I was, glowing, all right, looking like a star, if I do say so myself. But I felt good. I didn't get sick. I was pregnant with boys, so I've heard that boys treat you much better. But I do know that when I was starting to make mom friends, we're talking about our pregnancy experiences, and my experiences were so pleasant and so great, and I just, I wasn't having all of the aches and pains and the vomiting and stuff like other people were having. But I do know that we're all about to face a whole bunch of challenges when these babies are, earthside. Once they come out of us, we're all going to be in the same boat, because the experience of while they're in your body can all vary. What our bodies do afterwards, how our bodies heal, whether you have to have emergency C-section or not, what that does to your body for the recovery of your body. You are not going to be able to jump up. If I were to have had a C-section from any of my children, I wouldn't have been able to make cakes 4 weeks later. I would have had to sit down. I would have to get off my feet. But you also have to get off your feet when you have an abortion. So all of these things, it's equal risks on all of the sides. But the most risky of the risks is having the baby, to me. I'll say that as a person that has 3, because the responsibility that follows the decision is my children's life and how they grow up, and the fathers and the husbands and the men and the friends and that they will be is a direct reflection off of how Des and I, raised them. And I think one of your first parenting decision is who you have the child by. Like, you choose who that baby, who that father is. And, I feel like that was the best decision I made. But no, did I know that Dez was going to be an excellent father? No, but I definitely thought he would be. And I was right. He's proven me right time and time again and over in ways that I couldn't have imagined. But being with somebody that has the potential to be the best is what you should offer for your children. Don't go into something with somebody who is already wavering, already, doubtful. You already think you're going to have to do things alone. But it is also selfish of me to tell anybody what they should do. I just know what I did and it was best for me. But I do know why people, there's a million reasons why people will make a different decision. But for people to think that having a baby is a cop-out or having an abortion is a cop-out, none of it is. All the decisions are hard. Adoption is hard. Everything is hard. But losing a baby, having any type of complications with your child, it's unimaginable. It's just really it's just unimaginable. And I feel very, very guilty if I were to say about anything as far as motherhood. It would be the fact that I had abortions. But people do have different reasons that they get there, like finances and where you are in your life and business and work. A lot of people want to wait until they're 30 to have babies, but then that makes it a little, well, the stigma is that it's harder to have kids after you're 30, but I think that it's contributed from how long people have been on birth control or anything. I think there's a lot of factors to why women's fertility starts to decrease at a certain age, because I don't feel like it was like that. And people in the Bible were having babies forever. But I mean, I don't know how long a year was in the Bible for sure. But I definitely feel like there's a lot of women are out there with a checklist. They want to get married. They want to have kids by a certain date. They want to do things by a certain time. And they feel like that's what they have to do. Because of society, and people are going to look at you weird, like you know, what's wrong with you if you don't have a kid. But it's it feels like a very sane decision to wait until you're financially set, to wait until you're after college and experience your partner without having children, and getting more time to learn yourself, love yourself, and heal yourself before having a child. That sounds like the perfect age to start. But I think any age that you decide is the perfect time. It's just the abortion decision sometimes it's made for you. It's sometimes yes, it's the best decision. It might be the best decision for you business wise. I know my family, when I got pregnant in college, they were like, you shouldn't have a baby because your business, whatever, people aren't gonna want to support somebody that's pregnant so young. And that really took a toll on me, because I wasn't sure if they were telling the truth. I don't know if they're gonna support me or not. I've never seen another small bakery business owner have a baby and still be supported after. So I only had myself to look at, and now I feel like I'm breaking the stigma of being a working mom, being able to do it or not, so that somebody else won't get convinced out of having a baby because it doesn't look like it can be done, because it can. It is harder, but it's doable. Every decision is doable. I know I felt like I had a setback when I had an abortion. I know I felt like I had, these were major setbacks for me, sitting down and having to sit still and having to sit in that depression and sit in that, because so I chose success over a baby. That's what it feels like. The potential of success, I wasn't even sure, but it definitely felt like I didn't have an option, and I was weighing out if I lost everything I built with Jordyn Cakes, or have a baby and not be supported, because they made sure they told me they weren't going to help, and I was going to have to be on welfare and all of that, which is kind of hard. I think it was just trying to scare me out of it. It worked, but I did not feel like it was my decision. And I'm not sure if a lot of other people at different ages are being convinced to have abortions, or, but just, like I said, I am pro-choice, but I do not feel happy that with the reasons that I chose to have an abortion. I think there are other ways and other reasons to decide. And it could have been my own decision. So I definitely wanted to double back to the part about the loss and people that have lost children and the mom guilt that I feel. To talking to other moms that have lost children, and some moms don't even tell you if they've lost a child. So I try to talk to everybody like everybody's going through something. So you never know. But I do feel guilty when I complain about my children. I feel guilty when I don't even know how to talk to people anymore once I find out that you've lost a baby, because I naturally just talk about my kids. So like, how are you doing? And I say I'm great and my kids are beautiful, and like I'm showing pictures. I post a lot of pictures, but I definitely felt a disconnect from my best friend and my cousin when she lost her baby, because I didn't know how to connect with her anymore, because we were really on the path to like being mommies. And it just really it was hard, because I didn't want to say the wrong thing. But I don't really even know if there's a right thing. But I think staying in constant communication with your people and your friends and helping them through it might be, the answer. But mom guilt is a real thing, y'all. And if people, I just feel like people being vocal about it and just telling, like, I never even told my cousin that I felt like that. I never even said it out loud that I feel like I stopped talking to her for a little while because I didn't really have the words to say. But I did feel like I checked on her, but I don't ever think that was enough. And I do feel guilty about that. As a mom that knows another mom needs that, I feel bad about that. But I'm here for her, and I'm so happy that she's pregnant again, and now we have different conversations, but we're always thinking and remembering the baby that was lost, because that baby, it still has such a presence in her life and her husband's life and her family. And it's just like, it's really crazy to lose a child. I can't imagine. That's probably the worst type of pain that you can feel. I know I'm a little all over the place with this episode, but I have a lot of thoughts and I'm really emotional about the whole thing. But it's just like my mind keeps going to all these different places. I've had 3 different kids and 3 different birth experiences and pregnancy experiences. So my feelings about keeping the child and, all of that has changed every time. So it's like I kind of know what it feels like to want one child more than the other. And not be really wanting to say that out loud. So that's another mom guilt thing. Mom guilt setting the stage for postpartum depression is just like, it's a perfect combination. You're already feeling guilty for something you don't even know is about to happen yet. You don't even know what to expect, and you have all of these expectations still, and you're failing in your head because, there's no right way to do it. So when your baby's not sleeping through the night, you feel like a failure. And you also feel super exhausted. So it's your brain can't catch up to reality. It can't process that you're not failing. You're just sleepy, and y'all are both, you're getting to know this baby. This baby's brand new here, has no idea what's going on. So take your time with that child. Every child is different. I know I felt like I did something wrong with Dash. Like, I didn't know what was wrong with him. He's been crying. He just cries so much. Like, I don't know. He was born with a tooth, so I didn't know if he was uncomfortable because of his tooth. And he didn't want to nurse. I didn't know if I wasn't giving him enough milk, so I feel guilty about that. I'm not eating enough. I'm not hydrating myself enough. I don't eat enough green vegetables to produce enough milk. This baby's growing rapidly, and he's hungry, and I can't keep up. And so what do I do? So now when the baby's crying and he's hungry, it's like I don't even know if I have enough milk in me. Like, I don't know if I did it right. Like, what did I do? And it's just, I'm internalizing it, because don't nobody want to hear all these complaints out loud. They just want to come over and hold the baby. They just trying to come over and take pictures with the baby, and nobody really wants to know that your nipples are cracked, but you're still trying to figure it out, and you're scared to ask, can we just start moving on to formula, because you know that the baby needs as much breast milk as possible. And you see all these moms thriving and creating all these stockpiles of breast milk, and you can't ever keep more than 1 bottle at the same time. It's like, it feels like a failure. I forget to take the vitamins. I don't want to take postpartum vitamins no more. I don't want to, I'm not sleeping, I'm not eating. I'm just really feeling like I'm doing everything wrong. It was like, I felt like I was neglecting Denim right after I had Dash. I wasn't holding him no more, and this was my baby. And now suddenly I have another baby, and I can't hold Denim anymore. I wasn't allowed to pick up any baby over the weight of the infant that I just gave birth to. So I kind of feel like there was a distance when it came to him, and then he became more of a daddy's boy, which is like such a advantage that I have, that he could go to another parent. Because if the single mothers out there, when you just neglect the next child and they have no one else, like, yes, I still felt that, but I do think that my child felt love during that time. I don't feel like he felt any of the things I'm feeling, but I still felt them. I didn't know that this was postpartum depression, though. I just felt like a failure. I didn't know that the symptoms of insomnia and the loss of appetite and, being intensely irritable, which is another word for saying a bitch. Like, I didn't know that that was a symptom of just having a baby and our hormones trying to catch up with themselves and trying to reroute that you're not pregnant, and, your body has to change its mind really quick, and you have to learn another thing, another person, all at once. I know after my labor with Dash, I had a I don't know if it was an infection or just like something happened with the IV port in my arm, so it hurt to hold him for a week. Like, for maybe I let it go. I didn't go back to the doctor for maybe 5 days, but I had to take Dash with me to the ER to go and see what was wrong. They had to give me some antibiotics and stuff, but I couldn't hold him. Like, it hurt to pick up anything. It hurt to hold him, hurt to nurse him. But of course I was doing those things, so I was just in pain. So no, this is not fun. No, when I hold them and it's just like, oh, like this, it wasn't fun in the beginning because my arm hurt when I bent it. But am I not feeling all the mommy feelings because I can't, like, I'm physically in pain due to the fact that I have a baby right now. There's no other factor, so it's like you're trying to dissociate why you're feeling the way you feel just so you're not blaming your child. But there are some things that you have to just sit and admit is the fact that, you had a baby. Give yourself some grace. So instead of like putting the blame on yourself or making yourself feel bad or making it a negative thing, just give yourself some grace. Like, girl, you just had a baby. It's okay. It's okay that you don't feel like doing this. It's okay. It's okay that you don't want to wear that. Or, I haven't worn jeans in ages, so I feel uncomfortable going out. Like, it's an adjustment to when you can start putting your old clothes on, when you even want to start trying them on again, because you're about to look different, or you're not sure what's going to fit. Do you need to rebuy a whole wardrobe? Why would you even do that to yourself? Your hair's falling out. It was super bomb the whole time you were pregnant. Now you're bald, and that's wild. You have to start wearing middle parts. See, I have a middle part because I don't have any edges. Still, the baby is 1.5. So it's like, what did I do to myself? My favorite part of myself was my hair. And one of my favorite features, if I'll say something that I really enjoy. And that was something that I feel like the babies took away from me. And that makes me really sad. And, you try to make it cute, make it look good. And it does look good, but it's just not you. It's not what you would want. But it's like, there's a time, when you are pregnant, when you have your child, that you're not living for yourself. So all those little vain things aren't, you're not supposed to feel it anymore. You're suddenly not supposed to care about how you look, or, suddenly not supposed to care about your appearance. And before you had a kid, before you got pregnant, you were trying to have workout routines and eating right. But it's like, suddenly now you're eating out 4 times a week because it's either you eat out or you cook, because apparently you're the mom now. Like, who knew that the meals have to come every single day? These kids need food every day, and that's just, it's insane. It's like a fear, like this. Oh my God, thinking about how afraid of having sex I was after giving birth. I was so scared because I'm scared of getting pregnant again, more so than being in pain. I just know how fertile I am. Like, I'm clearly the most fertile person in history, having a baby back to back like that. I feel like I was nervous about having sex with my husband because I am gonna get pregnant again because we're having sex and we're not using condoms and I'm not on birth control. So this is stupid. But then what does that mean for my husband? Now I'm neglecting him. Now, all these things that we are going through, our experience that is very real with postpartum depression, the anxiety, the guilt, the not being able to bond with your baby, all that stuff is going on. But then your partner that's there with you is experiencing you changing right before their eyes, and you being unsure, and you crying, and then being happy, and then you wanting this but not wanting this, and wanting them to hold the baby, but then they're holding the baby too much. All of those, they're dealing with that too. So their experience is valid, and I feel like we need to be supportive. Now that we know what we're going through, just know that our person's dealing with a person that's depressed, and that now has a greater risk for depression after this. So now if we don't get you therapy and we don't work through this, and I don't create an environment where we can be vulnerable and be honest with each other, then like you bottle up all your feelings, and then you are going to be depressed after the postpartum depression phase, I guess. I mean, I don't know when you're not postpartum, if every day after I have a baby is postpartum. Like, I'm still postpartum. Everybody's postpartum because you just had a baby. I don't care how old the kids are, but you can still be depressed. Like, you could still, like, I know the one thing, I'm anxious. I've always been anxious and I've always dealt with depression, but knowing that one of the side effects, so I'll say like a side effect of having a baby is all of those things as well. We need to talk about that before we have kids. Like, before you take a medication, they give you the list of all the side effects, like, oh, you might lose an arm, you might not be able to see out of your left eye. Like, they say that at the end of every commercial, that they also are telling you is positive with a list of side effects. And we need to talk about the side effects of postpartum depression. Me being depressed pre-baby is like it's like my depression has been supercharged after I had the kids. It was so quick. I think I dealt with the baby blues and all of those different things after Dash. I was not really, and I'm saying this now because he's outside of me. I never wanted to say any of these things while I was pregnant with him, because I do feel like babies internalize things and they can feel your vibes, and I always want to speak positively over him and, tell him I'm excited about him and make myself excited. It's like when you say cheese, you actually smile, So just talking positively and kind of manifesting the blessing that he is. But now that I'm outside of it and I can be honest, it was an inconvenient time for us to get pregnant. But I'm married and I have a business. I am able to take care of him, obviously, because I am. It was no reason for me to have an abortion. Like, there was no reason. I couldn't even connect those dots, but it didn't change the fact that it was not the right time for him. And then since he's been here, I was planning on him being just like Denham or Dallas. Like, after I had the baby, they were able to come to work with me and just chill at the bakery. I have a bakery, so I wasn't planning on paying $2,000 a month for daycare. That wasn't my plan, because once you start thinking about planning, you have to think about a budget per month that you are going to spend on a child. So when people say that you can plan differently, like, are you really up for the increase of $5,000 a month in expenses? Can you afford that right now with your job that you're working right now? Can you afford any type of inconvenience of daycare or anything, and doctor's appointments and all that stuff? Like, that's the part of planning I think people should do, is financial planning. But I thought that Dash was going to be able to come to work and be a normal, cooing and smiling baby. And I say normal because as my other two babies were. And he cried every single moment of every single day that he was here. And when he was at home, he could not be comforted. He has his moments that he smiles and he dances and he has a good time, but he just he cries a lot. Like, he's very colicky to this day and to this moment. And so it's just been really hard to, it's just been hard. He's just been hard for us. It's been really hard with him. Trying to bond with the baby that is just as confused as you are, and you have to convince them that you love them and that they should love you too. So I guess that's our new job, is having more fun with him, making him smile more. But it was an adjustment. He rocked our world from the beginning, and we're just now kind of getting a handle on things. I feel like the symptom of postpartum that I've been affected by most was depression, and is depression. I still am very much in it, and it's very slippery. It's a slippery slope. Like, one sad thing will send you on a spiraling sad roller coaster, and you don't know how to get yourself out. Even like I was saying, recording the podcast, I've been doing just fine. Like, I haven't cried on camera or anything crazy like that, but the next thing sad that happens, I will break down because it's a lot of emotions built up. So I feel like I do that a lot. It's like kind of push my feelings to the side, because we really don't have time for Jordyn's feelings right now. We don't have time to feel nothing, really. You don't have time to feel sad. You don't have time to be mad at anybody. You don't have time to be angry because you got to go to work, because you got kids. The kids, it's always about the kids and never about you anymore. So naturally you lose yourself. If you're not asking about yourself, how you gonna know? Like, I don't even look in the mirror some days. Obviously today I looked in the mirror, but most days, like, we don't have a full body mirror, so I don't even know what I look like from the waist down. So that's why I just wear crop tops from whatever I can see from the mirror up. But when I was dealing with postpartum, like my body image was changing, and I'm like, I wasn't used to being in this bigger body, but I don't really know what my body's supposed to look like. I started having kids at 21, and my body's been fluctuating ever since. So is this my size? Do I buy smalls? Do I buy mediums? Do I buy extra smalls? I'm buying extra smalls. I ain't never bought no extra small. But that's depression. I don't eat. My appetite is horrible. I don't sleep enough. I don't do anything enough. I don't do anything enough but love my kids. That's all I got. So I feel like my kids give me every reason to want to be better, every reason to want to heal, but they also give me every reason to not be able to do that. I can't go to therapy. I don't have time. I don't really have the money to pay for therapy. I can't, that's $100 a week every session. I don't have $400 more to take care of my mental health. And then that's just psychologists. I have a psychiatry appointment that's every 30 days in order to get the Adderall that I need every 30 days. I can't afford to be mentally ill, but I am. I cannot afford to be anything other than excellent, ever. But I'm not always excellent. But I'm really good at pretending to be excellent, and it kind of radiates through you when you kind of live. I'm just really trying to live in a higher vibration and feeling better and doing better and looking better so that I can, be good. A lot of moms say their depression kind of stops when they start getting dressed after they have kids. Like we just go get into a slump. You throwing them moo-moos on, baby. You got them panties, them big ass panties on. You bleed and you don't know what the hell. But once you stop, the milk is drying up. You don't have to put no nipple pads in. You stop being like a leaky fountain and utility to everyone around you. And now you can put some clothes on and you start looking like yourself or looking like somebody you would like to be friends with. You'd be like, oh, she cute. Like, that's a good time. Like, it is a moment when that happens, but it's a lot of moments before then. And a lot of moments that we're crying in the bathroom, looking in the mirror, not being able to recognize ourselves, our face changing, breaking out, not breaking out, splotty, like I said, the hair falling out. We take our braids down after, most black women get their hair braided for labor. Imagine taking your braids down after 2 months of a baby and your hair's falling down out by the pound because of postpartum hair loss that you weren't planning for. It's a psychological thing where you're watching hair, you feel ill. Like if you have cancer, when you lose your hair, how that feels, the imagery of that happens to moms all the time at all different phases of our postpartum journey. There's so many steps of postpartum. Like I'm just 1.5 years out of having Dash, but I'm also 2.5 years from denim. I'm still feeling denim hormones doing crazy stuff. I'm still feeling that attachment come and go and, intensify and, learning denim. I'm still learning these people, and I have to give them 100%. You know how people say, when I read people's Instagram posts and they're like, this, happy birthday to my child, you're my whole heart, but they have 4 other kids. I'm like, I don't know, but I mean, it's fine. I feel y'all, but it's not you're giving 100% to every child. We find a way to pour from an empty cup all the time and to not have enough time to work on ourselves or make ourselves feel good. I don't have time to get a pedicure. I think the last time I got a pedicure was when I gave birth to Dash or something like that, because my feet had to be up on them stirrups. I wasn't gonna have them nurses looking at me crazy. Nope. But dads can look at me crazy. We just be scratching feet together, hell, whatever. But I don't have time. And if I go get my nails done and he's at home with the kids and I'm sitting there nervous, like, oh, he don't go get his nails done. Like, I feel like everything needs to be equal. If I want dads to take on a lot of the responsibilities, I feel like I need to understand and respect the fact that he's experiencing the same trauma and fatigue and irritation that I am. Like, I do not just give him all of the responsibilities without knowing that he's about to be struggling. He takes the responsibilities, and I appreciate him with the full knowledge that they are just as difficult with him as they are with me. He's better at dealing with stress than I am. Like, I went through a time after I had Dallas that I broke out in hives every single day for 6 months. Every single day. Like, I don't even know what was happening. Like, I was overwhelmed. I was stressed out, like super duper stressed, but I didn't know that it was going to come out physically, like head to toe hives. I wasn't eating anything crazy, but I had to go to the doctor, and they're like, oh, this is the way your body processes stress. So it's like, oh, so you're really allergic to stress. Like, that's nuts. And why is this happening to me? Is this what is this from? Like, you don't even know, but I don't even have time. Like, if I have time to take off for my kids' doctor's appointments, I bet you I ain't got time to take off for mine. I don't have more than one day in the month. I need all 3 of my kids to go to one doctor's appointment, because you have to pay for daycare whether they're there or not half the time. Like, it's really all of these different rules to make it really impossible for parents to do anything, but we still are supposed to be there. We get penalized when we're not there. I need a driver's license, but I can't stand in line at the DMV, but they close and open the DMV at will. You know, like, it's hard. Like, the system is kind of built against Black people in general, Black men, obviously, Black women and mothers, I'm learning, are a super small group of people who, well, it's a big group of people, but a marginalized group of people that people don't give a fuck about. Like, they don't care that we have to go to work and that we have the same struggles as everybody else, and I feel like you need a little bit more grace. I don't know what I'm asking for, but just grace. Just, you should be looking and smiling at Black women that have children a little bit harder and giving them a pat on the back, because it's really hard. Working or not working, it's a hard decision. All this stuff is going on in our head 24/7. All this stuff, you don't understand what a hormonal imbalance will do to you. And when you hear about postpartum, you hear that you're either going to be sad, which you don't really know what sad means. Like, okay, depressed, sad, that's the ultimate sadness. And then you hear about the other extreme where moms are, you know, drowning their babies. And you're like, whoa, I'm not feeling like that. I do love my child. I'm having a little bit of time bonding, but maybe I don't have postpartum because it's not extreme. But they should talk about the symptom that is more popular than everyone wants to say, which is suicidal thoughts. A lot of moms that have dealt with depression before becoming moms, if you get a suicidal thought, you could literally just go out and kill yourself. It's so easy. It's like it's a left and a right turn, y'all. Like, being a suicidal, and I'll say, I know a lot of people can't say this stuff out loud because you're out of a fear that they'll take your kid. I know I've been afraid to say that I've been suicidal before because I don't want anybody to take my child from me and not feel like I'm a fit mother. I feel like a very fit mother. I just am suicidal and I'm depressed as well. Like, I don't really know. I mean, people are like, wow, you're making it look so easy. But if this is what's really going on, I'm telling y'all what's really going on, then please just know to go and give everybody grace, because I am making it look good, but I'm equally as sad as the next person, or more sad. I don't know. But I know that in 2015, for example, I tried to commit suicide. I had Dallas already. So you would think that it wouldn't be a decision like that, or you would just automatically be trying to live for that child, but that child isn't living for me. It is so confusing. Like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. I don't know why I'm making 6 figures at 21, have my own bakery, married and have a baby, and I'm depressed and suicidal. Why am I not happy? Everybody's looking to me to be happy, looking to me to be grateful and all of these things, and I'm so successful. Oh my God, you have a gift. But it's like, why am I sad? But it's because I'm dealing with postpartum depression. But since I'm not trying to drown my child, I'm not going to get help for postpartum depression. So I'm just suffering and hiding it. And that's no good either. I know that we had a lot of, like, when I was at the hospital, we washed down the story talking about, oh, she accidentally took a couple pills. Merp. It is what it is. And it should have been discussed for what it was, so I could have gotten some help sooner, because I'm still dealing with issues. I'm still dealing with the being very sad and how easily it is to feel like I just shouldn't be here. It's so much easier to not be here. Like, if you're asking me, should I walk through this door or should I not? If anything over that door is not painful, that seems like the next decision to make. I don't know why that's not. It's like night and day. But I have to find other reasons and find purpose in my life, which is what I've been working toward and praying about and reading. I'm trying to read the Bible. I'm doing what I can. I'm going to therapy when I can afford it, doing what I can so that I don't feel sad or I feel like there's a purpose for my life. I don't feel like my purpose is to be a mother, though. So my kids don't make me want to live. I want to be happy, so I want to live, and I want their mom to be happy. So those things are like, I don't know. I want to be able to, I want to live for me and for the impact that I can have on the world and for the impact that I can have on other people and finding the reason why God put me here. But as long as I haven't found that, it makes it so easy to want to flip that switch sometimes. So it's like, what do you do with all these feelings? What do you do? What do you do when you're feeling all of that but your child's having a tantrum, or you have to get called in for a PTA meeting, or you have to, make a doctor's appointment. You're feeling like that inside, but nobody cares. Nobody cares. No one, at least you feel like nobody cares. Everybody cares about the baby. And if the baby looks good and is feeling happy and is matching and not drooling all over, like, that's all that people care about. So when people are saying, you hear mom say, ask about me and don't ask about the child, if you see the child and the child is breathing, if the child is crying, they're breathing, okay, so they're fine. Now ask how I'm doing, because 99.9% of the time I'm not doing as well as I could be. And it's like having somebody not care about you anymore after you have this person. It's like, now that I have a baby, it doesn't matter that I was here first and that I have a soul. Like, I'm in here. Like, it's like I feel like a person that is that's in a coma. Then you're just like, you're awake but you can't speak, and you don't really know. You're just kind of lost in there, and that's how I feel. I feel like I'm really lost. So yeah, now I'm gonna cry. That's so annoying. I hate to cry, bitch. Tighten it up. But yeah, that's how I feel, y'all. Damn, how are we not supposed to be depressed? The house is a mess, the kids ain't sleeping. How are you not supposed to cry? I cry like at the drop of a dime, because everything's sad. As soon as somebody asks you how you're doing, especially my kids, oh my god, Dallas asked me how I'm doing. I'm not good, son. Like, I'm struggling, boss. But we're trying. But I'm like, I feel like maybe if people talked about postpartum and all of the lenses and all the different, symptoms, then we can all try to get help from it. But as long as they're watering it down to just depression, and then there's such a negative stigma on being depressed and saying that you're suicidal or anything. Like, I was scared to tell Dez that I'm suicidal, because it's like how I tell him I want to kill his wife. That's how it feels. And that will make me be okay for a second if I think about it like that, because that's what it feels like, though. I care more about Dez than myself sometimes, so I'll have to say it to myself like that so I'm good, and then I stay here for another day. So I just be trying to make it 24 hours, y'all. These kids don't make it any easier, but society making it that you can't say these things out loud, it keeps people binded, y'all. Like, really. And it's freeing being able to say this stuff out loud. It still hurts, but at least people will be more gracious with you, and you won't have to feel alone. I hope I'm alone. I hope y'all not feeling like this, but y'all all got kids probably, so you feel like this too. After all of the bedtime routines are done, or lack thereof, in our house, moms are sitting up thinking about 1,000,001 things, ways that they could be better, ways that they could have done things differently, ways that they have dramatically changed their entire lives for their children. And it's a whirlwind. It's definitely a realization that you made a decision that you can either make work for you, or you can continue to let it work against you and let these kids beat us down. And it's a unconditional love that I've never experienced before, not with any other kind of family or anything. Like, it just feels different, and it is a love I wish I never knew sometimes, because it hurts. That hurts, to just want to give somebody your everything. Like, to want to, like, to die for somebody is a love that is just, it hurts, in my opinion. So it comes with all of this. And I know I question myself often, like, did I mess up having them? Did I make a decision? Was I overconfident? Like, I'm a Virgo. I think I can handle everything. I can schedule and plan and do everything the right way, and everything's going to work out because I say so and I will it to that. But I feel conflicted sometimes, that maybe my kids deserve somebody better, and maybe I wasn't well enough to have kids, and I'm jagging them. But instead of internalizing that for too long, I'm learning to redirect my thoughts and talk about more things like what I'm grateful for, and think about, people, it's cliche, but 5 things you're grateful for, and not just Dallas, Denim, Dash, Dez, and my mama. Like, I'm not just saying those things, but what about these people am I grateful for, so I can get my head thinking about something positive? Or what is your, what's something that happened positive in your day that what was something nice that somebody did for you that was unexpected today? I think that's been changing my mindset before bed, and so I get a little bit more restful sleep when my kids decide to not be monsters. And it's just being able to have a place where you can come, like, be it therapy or now like in the studio or with my husband. You have your people that you can confide in. You have your set support group in your village that are your village for yourself and not even just for your kids. Talk to these people and be open with them and talk so they can get you some help, because I know what it feels like to be suicidal, and I know what it feels like to be depressed, and I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. And I know it's a lot of people I love that are dealing with it, so I want more people to have access to the help that they need, and to know what they're dealing with, so that we can all be here for our kids and be here for a long time and be happier for our kids every year. Because every year is going to get better, they say. They always say that we on the upside of the baby thing. So, we just need to buckle up and make it to that step. Like, if I make it, I'm always like, I hope I'm there. I always hope that this haul isn't just one big ass suicide note. That's really what I be thinking about. And that's super morbid to think. But I know that my depression becomes unmanageable. So I just want to say to moms out there that you are not alone. I'm right here with you. I don't want us to be in this place for long. So, hopefully we can find some more resources and get some help for us, something that's manageable and affordable and consistent, and we make the time for ourselves so that we can be the best mommies. All right, guys. See you next time. Mamas.